How do I find a new job? How can I make a career change? And the biggest question of all, can I really find a career that I love? Hey, my name is Jen Smith, and I believe career success doesn't have to be at the expense of living a radiantly happy and healthy lifestyle. As a former HR leader and recruiter turned career coach, I get what companies are looking for when hiring top talent. What that means for you is an unmatched combination of insider knowledge and the best kept secrets about making heart-based career changes and navigating the ups and downs of job searching in today's world of work. Whether you're a recent graduate navigating the job market for the first time or a seasoned professional ready for a career change, this show is for you. So grab your coffee or your kombucha, pull up a seat, and get ready to be challenged and inspired to move beyond your self-doubt and take the right next steps towards landing a career you love. Because you deserve a long, radiantly happy and healthy career. This is the Flourish Careers Podcast. Hello, and welcome back to the Flourish Careers Podcast. I'm your host, Jen Smith, and today we are diving into a subject that I love thinking about, and that is Kismet working relationships. So have you ever had the experience of working with someone who was on the same page with you pretty much all the time? I've found that it is easy to notice when work relationships are not working. It can be extremely frustrating and stressful. So maybe you've worked on a team and there was really poor communication where the instructions or the vision was really vague and nobody really knew what was going on. Or potentially you've had a micromanager that really stifled your creativity and decreased morale. Or maybe you've experienced a team where people were just unwilling to listen, where they're not taking feedback or suggestions and just really shutting down communication. Or maybe there's been a lack of recognition in your work environment. Or maybe another coworker has taken credit for your work. Maybe there's a situation where people have been dishonest and there's a lack of transparency. So all of these things are very notable when we think about working relationships. But when it comes to heart-based career planning, finding Kismet working relationships, which are those that are seemingly orchestrated by fate, can make all the difference. These are the connections that feel like magic, where you and your colleagues or you and your boss move in sync with one another and maintain a balanced relationship. This might seem like it is not possible, but I am here to tell you I get the opportunity to live this every single day with the folks that I am in a working relationship with. So sometimes it's really hard to know if you found a Kismet working relationship. And more importantly, how can you find the people who get you in your career? So that's what we're going to explore today, the signs of a Kismet working relationship and some actionable tips for finding your career soulmates. This episode was inspired by an email exchange with one of my colleagues discussing our working relationship as easy, effortless, and fun. It is Kismet in so many ways. And I'm also going to start out by sharing a story with permission from my dear colleague, Laura, about her heart-based career path and how now she gets to work with ideal Kismet clients. It is such a fabulous story about the universe bringing all the pieces together at just the right time. And I know you're going to love it. So let's get to it. Laura is an outstanding writer, and before becoming a writer, she was a high school teacher. She's one of those people that thought she'd be working for 30 years and then retire, so she didn't really have a backup plan. And Laura tells this story of being in her darkened classroom, texting her husband that she was ready to quit, while she was rereading the draft of her resignation letter on her computer screen for the 20th time. It was time to let her principal know that she was leaving to pursue a career in writing. Since she was 16 years old, Laura had never been unemployed for any amount of time. She's never quit one job without having the next one lined up. Can you relate to that? I know I can. But this time was different for Laura. The next job was more of an idea than actual employment. An idea that she could maybe make it as a writer. I should also mention that after teaching for 13 years, Laura ended up in urgent care 3 times in one semester for various stress-related illnesses, ranging from intense and unexplainable vertigo to a case of the shingles in her 30s. So for Laura, one thing was becoming increasingly clear. She needed a career plan B. Teaching was wearing her thin in more ways than she would like to admit. Laura goes on to share that she was always a super cautious person. So she would have felt terrified after delivering this resignation to her principal. But when she resigned, she didn't feel scared at all. Instead, she felt a relief, peace, and freedom. And despite not feeling like she had a solid plan in place, the truth is that Laura had begun working towards this resignation months and weeks earlier, thanks to the power of tiny action. She had created a website and business cards, and she had a blog where she wrote about her teaching struggles and her intentions for her new career. Although besides an old friend from college, she told no one about her website or blog, which I can totally relate to. But she loved to check the analytics. So the only hits on her website and blog were the 2 of them every single day. The next tiny action that she decided to take was social media. So despite Twitter's popularity at the time, she had never joined, and according to what she'd learned was needed for success as a writer, it was time to join Twitter. The weekend after she turned in her resignation, she created a Twitter account and began following a few strangers in the writing field. Before long, she had her first 10 followers. And then it was time for another tiny action, or I might say this is a big action. It was time to tweet. So she wrote her first one, and it said something to the effect of, "I just quit my teaching job of 13 years to follow my dreams of being a full-time writer. I'm building from the ground up and looking for a hashtag writing community." She hit send and forgot about it. And that's when the magic happened. Laura logged back in and saw so many likes and comments. She said at one point it was like a ticker tape. The numbers just kept scrolling and scrolling. There were so many encouraging comments. And she says that she's tried to respond to every single one of them, but she just couldn't keep up. And according to the analytics of that particular tweet, 500,000 people saw Laura's tweet. And she logged into her website analytics. Up until that point, her daily visits had been 1 or 2 a day. Now, in just one day, her website had 1,400 visitors. By the end of the week, she had a couple dozen more blog subscribers and 2,400 Twitter followers. Reading through all these mentions, she saw people from all over the world sharing and praising her writing. Most importantly, her messages contained invitations to pitch her writing. So she began to get paid for her writing for the first time. Laura describes this as a surreal moment. She realized the universe had her back all along. Now, this is where the power of perfect fit working relationships comes into play. As an introverted teacher, Laura struggled to be on all day. She needed time to recharge and wasn't getting it with the amount of work that need to be graded as she came home each night. She held herself to a high standard, but the school administration was often light on praise and heavy on criticism. Laura said that she started having panic attacks before meet the teacher night, and even when she needed to call students' parents. As a lifelong writer and English teacher, Laura knew that she was a strong writer, but would she be any good at finding clients? She dreaded phone calls, hated selling, was uncomfortable talking herself up and marketing her skills. How would she ever find clients she needed to survive as a writer? Now, 4 years later, Laura serves a handful of clients regularly and monthly. According to her, each one appears to be handpicked from the universe for her unique style, values, and passions. She says they never require her to, quote, hop on a call. Every project is hashed out via written communication, which is her preferred kind, and all communication comes from a place of gratitude and respect. It's clear they value her work and speak her love language, which is words of affirmation. Best of all, Laura now gets to take her kids to and from school. And then she gets to get into her work and write most of the day. She also takes breaks as needed, so her physical and mental health have greatly improved after she made this heart-based career change. Kismet working relationships bring out the best in you and your work. So let's talk about 3 qualities of a Kismet working relationship. A Kismet working relationship is like finding a career soulmate. They are the perfect puzzle piece that seamlessly fit into your professional life. And when you experience it, you know it's something special. So first, a Kismet working relationship is heart-based. It is one in which your heart-based goals align with one another. Perhaps you connected perfectly at the right time to begin an important project. Or maybe you're frequently on the same page because you share common values like mindfulness or people over profits. And whenever you come together, you both feel seen, heard, and understood. And it's often a welcome relief from those past dreadful working relationships or ones that were less of a fit. Another quality of a Kismet working relationship is that it's easy. A perfect fit working relationship flows with ease and requires minimal effort. So ideas flow freely, communication is open, and collaboration thrives. This reminds me of a conversation I had with Sarah Young about clean energy, which I'll link to the show notes. So this is a kind of connection that naturally brings out the best in both people because each person's strengths complement and enhance one another. So as a result, the quote unquote daily grind becomes more fulfilling and free flowing. The third quality of a Kismet working relationship is that it is fun. Perhaps the best part about being in a Kismet working relationship is that it's fun to work with someone who understands and appreciates your strengths and vice versa for them. So together, you begin to achieve remarkable things and inspire each other along the way. So have you ever experienced this Kismet working relationship in your career? If not, let's talk about how to find the people who get you in your career. So first is to focus on your intention more than your step-by-step plan. So this doesn't mean quitting your goal-setting process. Goals are great and they're necessary, but trying to micro-plan your next 10 years to unfold in one specific way is probably going to set you up for disappointment. So instead of focusing on your 10-year plan, try writing about how you would like to feel in your career. Then set your intention and let go of whatever arbitrary timeline you've come up with. Things might happen much faster, or they may happen slower. But usually the path that will actually get you to that feeling looks much different than anything you could have ever planned. With patience and trust, you create space for magic. You don't need to know every single step ahead of time. You just need the courage to take the steps when they appear, because they will appear when you're ready. Another thing that you can do is learn to grow with tiny action. As you move toward a career that fits, it is important to adopt a growth or a learning mindset. A fixed mindset is one where you're convinced that your behavior, your intelligence, your creativity, and your capabilities are fixed for life. So you can't become good at math or you can't become a stronger communicator. You're just stuck. A growth mindset, however, opens you up to all the possibilities. So you can learn calculus, you can learn to communicate more effectively. Your behavior, your creativity, your capabilities, all of it is changeable, and you can change through the power of tiny actions. I often say that 15 minutes a day is all you need to create change in your life and your career. Another step is to become your most authentic self. So finding Kismet working relationships means getting real with yourself. So you have to be honest about your interests, your values, and what you want your lifestyle to look and feel like. This will require getting in touch with your body and your inner wisdom, two things that you may have been ignoring for far too long. So you can learn to get back in touch with yourself by journaling or practicing mindfulness or meditating or going on daily walks that I like to call soul strolls. Sometimes just getting out in nature and fresh air can really help. So as you follow the path to your true self, you'll be amazed at who you meet along the way and who joins you on the journey. Another thing is to stay open to all the possibilities and unexpected magic. Now that you've adopted a growth mindset and begun the journey to becoming your most authentic self, it is time to look outside the box. So Laura says that one of her first jobs that she got as a writer was to write a YouTube script for $50. Laura was thinking, this isn't much money, but it's something new, so why not give it a shot? So she wrote the script, and then that client needed more work. It was the key that led to all of her beloved clients today. Magic can come from any direction. So participate in life and meet new people. Embrace unexpected opportunities, knowing that anyone you meet in the process can be that connection that you've been looking for. And then finally, practice gratitude freely. You can become so busy trying to quote unquote manifest what you want that you overlook the experiences and the people who come into your lives and that are exactly what you need. So try approaching each relationship from a place of gratitude, and you'll be amazed at who finds their way to you. The bottom line is that your heart-based career awaits, and your Kismet connections are on the other side of your fears and fixed ideas. Working with someone who truly understands you can be a professional game changer. While it's evident when work relationships don't gel, finding those harmonious connections I like to call Kismet working relationships can significantly enhance your career fulfillment. These connections create a sense of unity, making collaborations feel magical. And I hope that Laura's story inspires you and emphasizes the ease and joy in a Kismet partnership and a heart-based career path. On that note, if you're looking for writing support and Laura's story resonated with you, I highly recommend that you check her out at copynoir.com, and I'll add that link to the show notes. So that's a wrap for this week, my friends. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to support the show, please consider recommending it to a friend. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next week.